this week's Geography in the News.
Today, we will be focusing on the issue of modern slavery. But first, what is slavery?
Well, Sarah, slavery is defined as being in the state or conditions of being a slave. It's the civil relationship where one person has absolute power and control over another. That person controls the slave's life, liberty, and fortunes.
We will now consult our expert to understand what modern-day slavery in India implies.
But first, let's go see our correspondent Thea Jovanovic to learn about the realm in which India is, the South Asia realm.
There are many different territories and countries within the South Asian realm, such as Afghanistan, Bangladesh, Bhutan, India, Maldives, Nepal, and Sri Lanka, and Pakistan. Now, the climate depends on the area. So as you can see on the world map, the area that we're covering is here. So you can see that we have India, Pakistan, Afghanistan, then we have Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, Bhutan, Nepal. And where Nepal is where the Himalayas are. South Asia realm offers us a lot of different geographical features, such as glaciers, rainforests, desert, valleys, and grasslands. So as you can see, the red part shows the warm part of the South Asian realm. It is the desert. The orange is the semi-arid wet climate that is warm. The blue is the tropical savanna. The turquoise shows the humid subtropical. The dark blue shows the temperate continental. The red part shows the highland subtropical. The pink shows the cool continental. The yellow shows the warm Mediterranean. The beige shows the cooler semi-arid. And the beige shows the cool desert. So each one of them has a contrast between each other. In South Asia, there are two major spoken languages. Hindi have 422 million and Bengali have 210. The population in South Asia is 618 million. 70% of them live in the rural area and they rely on the agriculture. Sri Lanka has the highest GDP per capita. South Asia has the highest rate of child malnutrition in the world. The children were dying and were underweight. In 2008, the global hunger in South Asia had 2.1 million children that were dying because of their malnutrition. According to slavery today, there are 27 million slaves around the world. 15 to 20 million of them are in South Asia, mostly in India, Pakistan, and Nepal. The reason of the slavery is because of bond labor. The population of slavery is larger than the population of Australia and is 7 times larger than the population of Ireland. There are 40,000 plus women that are sent to Japan each year for sexual trafficking. In order to get out this bonded labor, each family has to pay $250 to have their freedom.
Thank you, Thea. We will now get back to you after this short commercial break.
Don't go away!
Don't go away!
Now we will consult our sociologist, Gabriel Carbonneau.
Slavery began after the development of agriculture 11,000 years ago. Later, with the apparition of large cities, slavery became an important part of economy and society. The majority of ancient civilizations used slaves, like the ancient Greece, the Roman Republic, and the Phoenicians. Some, like the Roman Republic, enslaved entire populations to fill his need of workers. Slavery continued around the world until 1792, when Norway and Denmark abolished it. Slaves were also used during World War II by some countries like Germany, who used 6 million, and the Soviet Union, who used 14 million. Today, slavery is illegal worldwide, but in some countries there is still something called modern slavery. There are 5 types of slavery. The first one is the chattel slavery, where the slave is owned by someone. The master can do whatever he wants with his slaves. The second one is the caste system in India. It can be considered slavery because it put people into classes that are unequal. The third one is debt bondage. It consists of repaying a debt by working for someone, and the debt can be passed from generation to generation. The fourth one is forced labor, or someone is threatened to work against his will. The fifth one is forced marriage, that forced 1 or 2 persons to marry. In globalization, companies give jobs to poor countries because the workers are paid less. Modern day slavery is when workers are underpaid because their country doesn't have laws regulating the minimum salary or can't apply them.
Thank you, Gabrielle.
And now we will ask questions to our correspondent in India, Idaya. So Idaya, tell me, what is the current situation of slavery in India?
Currently, the modern-day slavery is no stranger to India. It has the highest level of slaves, which is 14 million, and it represents about 1% of the current Indian population.
Thank you. And could you explain the different types of slavery present in India?
Well, there's bonded labor, which is the most common form of slavery in India. Well, this form of slavery, it is to repay a debt by working any type of work such as in households, in mines, and in agriculture. Usually, the loan is designed so that it can never be paid off and it is often passed generations by generation. There is also sex slavery, which is one that touches mostly younger women and girls. They are forced to prostitute themselves and satisfy the clients without resisting. There is actually a big sex tourism based on this kind of slavery. Even child pornography is current on illegal sites. And there is a high risk for the slaves to contract any type of transmitted diseases, including AIDS. The number of sex slaves goes up to 3 million, and 1.2 million are only children. Ritual sex slavery is considered a type of sex slavery. It is a religious ritual that consists to give a girl's body to a village, sometimes as young as only 5 years old, and when they have reached their puberty. They are given to the oldest man in the village, a priest or a rich man. Since it is given, the girl becomes a slave to satisfy the one she's pleasing, until he gets tired of her, which sometimes might be only one night, sometimes it can go to over years. Then afterward, she is to the village to please. Since it is a religious belief, families cherish this practice. So actually there is a lot of families that believe in this cultural ritual. The belief is that the goddess Devadasis represents fortune and luck, so therefore families in extreme poverty tend to sell their girls in hopes for a positive return to the village and themselves. But the sad truth is of being a matama or a jajini, which is the name of the slave. It includes sexual, physical, and mental abuses. Even if this kind of a ritual is forbidden in India, there's about 250,000 women caught in this slavery, more popular in southern Africa. This kind of slavery also includes bride trafficking. It is basically girls being forced to get married which after they are under the power of their husbands. This practice is common in India mostly because there is a ratio of men greater than women. There's about 14 million more males than females, which creates a demand for brides, especially in Haryana, where a market of brides is popular. No need to say that most of the women caught up in this trade are kidnapped or promised a better lifestyle and money. There is also child beggars, and child beggars consists actually of exploitation of children to beg for money. It is held by mafia gangs, and the children are usually amputated by cutting an arm or a leg, or even blinded to gain more money by pity. The worse the injury, the more money the kid will make. So they are trained to approach certain kinds of people using different techniques to have more money. If they don't make enough money for the gang master, they get hit, tortured, or even beaten up or killed. Of course, the beggar never sees their earning. It is all handed to their employee. This industry of child beggar makes close to 20 million pounds every year. There is also domestic servitude, which is a form of slavery. It is a growing problem in India. Almost every domestic workers are between the age of only 12 to 16 years old and are usually women. And they have poor work qualities. For instance, they work long days without breaks or days off. Not only do they get abused by their agencies, but also by their clients. Physical, sexual, mental abuse are common facts in this field. The workers never get the chance to see their money because it is all their agencies that keep it to them. And some agencies may offer a loan in advance to the employees, but this falls quickly into a debt that they have to pay by working, which becomes a form of bonded labor.
And who are the more affected by any type of slavery in India and why?
Dalits and tribals are more at risk to fall in any type of slavery. Of course, slavery has no boundaries, it can touch anyone, but the one who will risk their dignity, life, and health for a small amount of money or their hopes for a better life are the one in extreme poverty, with no literacy, marginalized, and the smaller communities of India such as the Dalits and the tribals.
Thank you, Idaya, for your time, and we will get back after this short break. An average slave in the American South in 1850 cost the equivalent of $40,000 in today's money. As per today, a slave only costs an average of $90.
This is because in 1850 it was difficult to capture a slave, and then transporting them to the US was very expensive. Today, though, there are millions of economically and socially vulnerable people around the world that are potential slaves.
We can see that slavery evolved into a profit-based industry. Companies try to lower the cost of their products as much as possible, no matter what,
even if that means worsening the living conditions of their workers. But today, there is hope to end this practice.
Education and awareness is the key. If we are to resolve it, we must inform the population about this important issue.
Everybody can make a difference, especially you as a consumer, by paying attention to where your products come from and prioritizing free trade products.
Currently, many organizations are fighting to end this worldwide problem. Alliance, Slavery No More, and Free the Slaves.
This last organization, Free the Slaves, works to make sure people in at-risk regions have the basic needs, like food, clothing, and shelter, so they won't need to look for drastic solutions, which sometimes means slavery. They spread the word so more people like you and me are informed about this important issue.
They work with the at-risk countries' governments to try and find solutions when possible. They not only work on prevention, but also on the rehabilitation of freed slaves.
Thank you for watching, and remember to be the change, and together we can make this world a slavery-free one.
Tune in next week for our special show on the destruction of the Amazonian forest.